Hello everyone, welcome to another virtual patch program. We will get started in just a minute, but while we're waiting for everyone to hop on, I'd love to know who you are, your first name, and where you're tuning in from. You can go ahead and type that in the comments. Welcome to those of you who are just joining us. Welcome to another GSWPA virtual patch program. Today's patch is Disability Awareness. My name is Samantha. I am a Girl Program Specialist here at GSWPA. And we will get started in just a few minutes. We're going to give some time for everybody to hop on and get all their supplies together. Hi Michaela, hi Lillian. If you're just hopping on, I'd love to know your first name and where you're tuning in from. Hi McKinney, hi Reagan. Hi Ainsley, hopefully I'm saying that right. Hi Tegan, Elizabeth and Aaron. Hi Hartley, hi Addison and Kennedy. Oh, awesome. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Hi Courtney. If you guys are just hopping on, today's virtual patch program is Disability Awareness. And my name is Samantha. I am a Girl Program Specialist with Girl Scouts Western PA. We've got Carly from California. Welcome. Kiki, Aaron, and Lauren from Trefoil Girl Scouts. Where is Trefoil Girl Scouts? What state is that in? Hi, Sydney from New Jersey. Sherry from Ocean City, New Jersey. Welcome. Hi, Adriana, Alice, and Elizabeth. Thank you, girls, so much for joining me. I'm so excited for today's virtual patch program. If you're just hopping on, we are doing disability awareness, and we will get started in just another minute or so. We just want to give an extra couple minutes for everyone to hop on, grab their supplies. You only need a few supplies today, and they are listed in the description. You will need a paper plate, some coloring utensils, markers, crayons, anything like that, a piece of paper, a mirror, and a blindfold. If you don't have a blindfold, that's okay. I don't have one myself, but I'll explain that activity when we get to it. Okay, so I think we'll go ahead and get started. If someone's not on yet, I'm sure that they'll be able to catch up. So as always, let me bring up myself. Hi everybody, welcome. Welcome to another GSWPA virtual patch program. My name is Samantha. I'm a Girl Program Specialist with Girl Scouts Western PA, and today's program is Disability Awareness. So, as always with our virtual patch programs, we will be doing three things. We'll discover, we'll connect, and we will take action. For our discover, we are going to start by reciting the Girl Scout Promise and Law, and then discuss a little bit about what it means to be a sister to every Girl Scout. And we'll also answer some true and false questions to better understand some different disabilities. Then we will connect. We will connect by making a color wheel to help understand our differences. And we will try to create a picture without sight. And then our final thing that we'll do is our third step, our take action. And we will actually be learning the Girl Scout Promise and Law and American Sign Language. So I personally don't know how to do it. I'm going to learn along with you. But we have a video from some friends at another Girl Scout Council that are going to help us learn. So without further ado, let's get started with our Discover. So today we're going to start with the Girl Scout Promise and Law. So you're going to raise your three fingers, stick them up together just like this, and you can repeat after me, or if you already know it, you can say it along with me. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. So that's our promise. Let's move on to our law, which you probably don't say as often. It's a little bit longer. So again, 3 fingers. I will do my best to be honest and fair, friendly and helpful, considerate and caring, courageous and strong, and responsible for what I say and do, and to respect myself and others, respect authority, use resources wisely, make the world a better place, and be a sister to every Girl Scout. Awesome. So that is our promise and law. And I would love to know in the comments if you can tell me, what do you think it means to be a sister to every Girl Scout? What would you define that as? How can we be a sister to every Girl Scout? Let me know in the comments. How do we be a sister to every Girl Scout? Last line of the law. We have to be a sister to every Girl Scout. How do we do that? Let me know in the comments. Naya says, be nice to every Girl Scout. Help each other from Samantha. Inclusion, absolutely. We include everybody. Being helpful. Be a friend to all of your troop, absolutely. Oh, Rachel says, Rachel and Riley, me and my daughter know some sign language. That's awesome. I would love to learn a little bit more sign language. I know a few of the simple ones, like thank you. To get along with your sister scouts in your troop, absolutely. To help people when they're down, yep, pull them back to their feet, both literally and not so literally. Being respectful to everybody, yes. Being a friend. Treat others like sisters, yep. Treat them with respect, be helpful, be nice, be kind, empathetic, and sisterly. Include everyone, even if they're not in our troop, and be nice to everyone. To get along with everyone and help when needed. To be kind. Gosh, you guys nailed it right on the head, absolutely. Treat everyone fair in the same way, exactly. No matter who they are, what they look like. Treat everybody fairly. Be kind, be sisterly. Be nice, be helpful. Awesome. Help when needed. Okay. Treat others how you would want to be treated. Absolutely, all of those things. So, when we're talking about someone with a disability or somebody without a disability, we want to treat everyone the same. We want to treat them all as our sister Girl Scouts. So, I have some fun true and false questions to help us learn a little bit more about how we should treat people with disabilities and to learn a little bit more about people with disabilities. So our first question is, only people who can't walk use wheelchairs. Is that true or false? Only people who can't walk use wheelchairs. I'll read some more of your answers. Help Girl Scouts and help each other no matter what. Absolutely, that's from Samantha. Be understanding and kind. Treat them how you would want to be treated and more. I love that addition. Treat your fellow Girl Scouts as if they were your sisters. Absolutely, because they are your sisters in a way. All right, I see a couple falses coming in. So if you missed it, our question was, only people who can't walk use wheelchairs. And I'm seeing all kinds of falses. False, false, false. That would be correct. So while it's true that many people who use wheelchairs can't walk, many can. People with disabilities who can walk on their own or with the aid of braces or a walker may tire easily and choose to use a wheelchair because it gives them more independence. So, great job. Yep, someone says not necessarily, depends on their disability. Absolutely. Great job, girls. You got that one right on the nose. All right, number 2. You have a friend who has a speech impairment and sometimes you're not sure what she said. To make things easier, you should pretend that you understand. True or false? To make things easier, you should pretend that you understand. Got some falses coming in. What do we think? True or false? You have a friend who has a speech impediment and sometimes you're not sure what she said. False, false. Yep, all the falses coming in. You girls are exactly right. So, never pretend you understand what someone is saying if you don't. Instead, ask your friend to repeat herself. If you're still having trouble, make your best guess about what the person is saying and ask if you heard correctly. Occasionally, your friend may need to write something down for clarity. So good job. You guys got that one right on the nose. And I did want to mention this true and false quiz is from our friends at Girl Scouts of the Nation's Capital. So this isn't mine, this is from Girl Scouts of the Nation's Capital. And they have a whole program on disability awareness, so I encourage you to check it out. They also have one. Okay, number 3. Someone says, my sister Skylar has a speech delay and she signs and uses a device. Thank you for sharing. Ask someone to repeat nicely, don't get annoyed. Absolutely. Good advice, ladies. Okay, number 3. When you meet someone who is blind or visually impaired, you should introduce yourself to that person. True or false? Should you introduce yourself to someone who is blind? I got a true coming in. True, yes. When you meet someone who is blind or visually impaired, you should introduce yourself to that person. True, definitely, true, yep. You guys got it again. So, introductions are always appropriate when meeting new people. When you have a friend or acquaintance with vision loss, it is appropriate to simply state your name whenever you see or greet them. So if you guys are interested in learning a little bit more about having a visual impairment or being blind, there is someone that I follow on YouTube. Her name is Molly Burke. Some of you might already be familiar with her. She's a pretty big YouTuber influencer, and she is mostly blind, and she has a YouTube channel where she does normal everyday things, but she also talks about what it's like being blind and how you should treat people who are blind. So lots of good information on her channel. So if you're interested, I encourage you to check her out. Make sure you have a parent or guardian's permission, but her name is Molly Burke if you are interested in checking her out. Okay, great job. Everybody's staying true. You got that one right on the nose. All right, next one. When communicating with people who are deaf or hard of hearing, it's necessary to speak through an interpreter. True or false? Someone says they also follow Molly Burke. She's pretty cool. When communicating with people who are deaf or hard of hearing, it's necessary to speak through an interpreter. True or false? When speaking to someone who is deaf or hard of hearing, you will need to speak through an interpreter. True or false? Couple falses. Got a true, a false, mostly falses. Yeah, lots of falses coming in. So that one is false. Because some people who are deaf or hard of hearing use sign language, others read lips, and still others use a combination of both. You need to find out how you can best communicate with them. If he or she does have an interpreter, it's perfectly fine to use this person, but look and speak directly to the person with the disability, not the interpreter. The interpreter will stand beside you and interpret as necessary. So some deaf and hard of hearing people do have an interpreter, but some of them can read lips, so you don't necessarily need one. That one was a little bit trickier. Okay, number 5. It's safe to assume that people with disabilities usually need help. True or false? It's safe to assume that people with disabilities usually need help. And it's okay if you get some of these wrong. I definitely would have too. We're all learning, and the fact that you're learning and learning how you can best respect people with disabilities is the important thing. So it's okay if you get them wrong. Don't worry. We're all learning together. Someone says true if they need a friend, false they can do a lot on their own. A little bit of a mixture of both. I guess it depends on how you answer this one. But the answer to this one is actually false. So I'll repeat the question again. It's safe to assume that people with disabilities usually need help. So this one is actually false. Most people with disabilities prefer to be independent. When offering help to someone with a disability, always ask first. Wait for their response and then ask them about the best way to provide the help they need. Don't feel bad if your help is turned down. So it may be your first thought to want to help someone with a disability, but they don't necessarily need help. Many of them do just fine on their own, but if you do want to offer help, you should always ask them first. You should never just assume that they need your help. So hopefully that makes sense. But that one was also a little tricky because your first thought is that you want to help someone no matter what. But you always want to ask first and make sure they actually need help. It's a little bit tricky for that one. Okay, next. It's okay to gossip about people who are deaf or hard of hearing because they can't hear you anyway. I think this one's going to be pretty easy for you guys. It's okay to gossip about people who are deaf or hard of hearing because they can't hear you anyway. I got a big nope. False, false. Lots of falses coming in. No, that's mean. Yes, you're exactly right. So anybody, whether they're hard of hearing or not, you shouldn't gossip about because that's not very nice. But the answer to this one, again, is false. People who are deaf or hard of hearing are just as likely to know that they are being talked about as much as people who aren't deaf would be. Even if they do not hear exactly what's being said, they will notice. So why be rude? So lots of falses coming in. I think everybody got this one. It's never good to gossip about anyone, especially just because they can't hear you doesn't mean it's okay. So that was a big fat false. All right, number 7. People who use wheelchairs can't go anyplace fun. True or false? Still getting lots of big falses on the last one. Big old nose. You are absolutely correct. It's never good to gossip about people. So this one is people who use wheelchairs. Oh, people who use wheelchairs can't go anyplace fun. I'm getting a lot of falses coming in. Yep, false, false. Yep, so false is correct. People who use wheelchairs may face some architectural barriers. So sometimes they have trouble getting around because it's not set up for them. So they may face some architectural barriers when going out into the community, but that doesn't mean that they can't go anywhere fun. Instead, it's a reason to check out the places you plan to go ahead of time to see if there are potential problems. Decisions can then be made to work around barriers or to choose another location. Knowing what to expect ahead of time will make planned activities more enjoyable for everyone. So I know, even though I don't personally have a disability, I still like to check before I go to a certain location, see what it's like, see where I'm going to park. So the same thing goes for people with disabilities. You just might want to check it out ahead of time and make sure there aren't going to be any barriers for that person. So yep, that was false. Someone says they can still have a good life. Absolutely. All right, good job, girls. Next question. People with cerebral palsy usually have a cognitive disability too. And get lots of no's. Yes, absolutely not. People with cerebral palsy usually have a cognitive disability too. Another word for that would be like a mental disability. Now someone says, there's someone who goes to skate parks and does really cool tricks in his wheelchair. That is awesome. I would love to see that. I'm getting some falses. False, false. Yep, you're right on that one too. So cerebral palsy is a disability that affects movement. And although cerebral palsy affects the motor control center of the brain, it does not affect one's natural intelligence. So someone that I found who has cerebral palsy, her name is let me do person first language. So her name is Abby Nicole Curran. She's Miss Iowa, and she happens to have cerebral palsy. So person first language, you might have noticed that I mentioned, is when you mention the person first, you don't want to say person who has cerebral palsy, Abby Nicole Curran. You want to say Abby Nicole Curran, Miss Iowa, who has cerebral palsy. So if you are interested in looking her up, again, her name is Abby Nicole Curran. She won Miss Iowa, I believe, in 2008, and she just happens to have cerebral palsy. So she's a pretty cool person. She was on Ellen, so I encourage you to look her up as well, because I had never heard of her before, and she's a really, really cool woman, and does a lot for her community. Still getting some falses coming in. You got it. You guys got it. Okay, let's move on to our next one. We'll do a couple more, and then we'll move on to our activity because I don't want to run out of time. People with disabilities want very much to be treated like everyone else. True or false? People with disabilities want very much to be treated just like everyone else. True or false? What do we think? Got a true, true. Big thumbs up, lots of trues, lots of yeses. You guys are correct again. So people with disabilities have said that this, more than anything, is what they want, to be included and treated just like everyone else. So that one is true. It's important to treat people with disabilities just like everybody else. Lots of yeses, lots of trues. Someone says depends. I guess that could be true. But for the most part, you want to treat them just like anybody else. I got a gift that says so true. Awesome. All right, next one. And I like this question because it involves dogs. When you meet someone with a guide or companion dog, you should make friends with the dog first so the dog is comfortable with you being nearby. True or false? When you meet someone with a guide or companion dog, you should make friends with the dog first so the dog is comfortable with you being nearby. What do we think? When you meet someone with a guide dog, you should make friends with the dog first. True or false? Got a little mix of both. Some trues, some falses. Looks like mostly false. So this one, someone says person first. False, the dog is working, ask the person. Yep, you are absolutely right. So it was a little bit of a tricky question, but this one is false. You should always meet the person before their dog. Guide and companion dogs are working and should not be disturbed. As you're getting to know the person, you can ask about the dog and ask to be introduced. However, you shouldn't go straight to the dog, especially you can see that they have a vest on. Typically, they have a vest that says they're a guide dog or a working dog, and that's just what they're doing. They're working, so they shouldn't be disturbed. You wouldn't interrupt a person who was working, so you shouldn't interrupt the dog either, especially because they're there to help the person and you don't want to distract them. Again, I mentioned her earlier, Molly Burke. Is a YouTuber who is blind, and she has a guide dog, and she talks a lot about guide dog etiquette. So if you're interested in learning more about that, again, I encourage you, with the parent's permission, to check her out. And if you're interested in this topic in general, I encourage you to look up more about guide dog etiquette, guide dog and working dog etiquette. Same goes for police dogs too. My uncle has a police dog, and he has his work collar, and you know not to disturb him when he's working. So lots of falses, but that was a little bit tricky because a lot of us probably want to go right up to that dog and say hello, but they are working, so we don't want to interrupt their work, because they could need to help that person with a disability, and we don't want to interrupt that. Okay, let's see, maybe one or two more. So the next one is, among other professions, people with disabilities work as stockbrokers, lawyers, doctors, and teachers. True or false? People with disabilities work as stockbrokers, lawyers, doctors, and teachers. True or false? What do we think on this one? And people with disabilities work in these professions: stockbroker, lawyer, doctor, teacher. Got a couple of trues coming in, a few falses, mostly trues. Someone typed, just trying to see. They can do anything they want. Yep, that's the answer I was looking for. So this one is true. People with disabilities are involved in a full range of professions. So you were correct. They could do anything that they want. They might have some barriers to overcome, of course, but people with disabilities are involved in all different kinds of professions. So you would be correct if you said true. Yep, everybody can be what they want. They can be anything. Absolutely. Good job. Good job on that one. Our next one is, people with disabilities prefer to hang out with others who have disabilities. True or false? We'll do one more after this one. Someone says they can be themselves and be what they want. Absolutely, all caps. People with disabilities prefer to hang out with others who have disabilities. Got a couple of no's and falses coming in. So you guys are correct on that one. That is false. Friendship is usually based on common interests in activities, not on whether or not a person has a disability. Let me look at your comments. I saw a good comment come in. False, they can hang out with anybody. Absolutely. Doesn't matter if they have a disability. False, everybody is different. Some people just like to hang out with friends. Absolutely true. Doesn't matter whether or not you have a disability. It's what you have in common. Good job. Okay, one more and then we'll move on to our activity. So this one is public places such as movie theaters, restaurants, and ballparks are easy for people who use wheelchairs to enjoy. True or false? Public places such as movie theaters, restaurants, and ballparks are easy for people who use wheelchairs to enjoy. And people, for the last question, people are saying they like to hang out with people they like. Yeah, absolutely. Not always. So let me repeat that question one more time. Public places such as movie theaters, restaurants, and ballparks are easy for people who use wheelchairs to enjoy. Got a couple coming in. Not always. Some trues, some falses. Sometimes. I think this might have been a little bit of a trick question. Lots of trues, some falses, one not always, one sometimes. So yeah, a little bit of a trick question on this one. Someone says it would be harder for them. Someone says if it's accessible. Not all the time. So this was a little bit of a trick question. It's actually false. The answer is, although the Americans with Disabilities Act calls for public places to be accessible to people who use wheelchairs, the fact is there are still many places that are difficult for people who use wheelchairs to navigate. So the people who are saying sometimes, to be fair, this was a little bit of a trick question. People who are saying sometimes and not always, that was probably the right answer. While some places are accessible, not all places are. So when you make plans with someone with a disability, possible architectural barriers, physical barriers should be considered. And actually, there are some Girl Scouts who have done Take Action projects and Bronze, Silver, or Gold Award projects that address some of these accessibility issues. So again, if that's something that you're interested in, that you've noticed in your community, that's something you might want to do a Take Action or even a Gold Award project on how you can make your community more accessible to people with disabilities and people in wheelchairs. Someone says, my grandpa has a hard time getting into some places. Yep, absolutely. So while we want to make it easier for people and more accessible for people with disabilities, unfortunately the fact is that there's still a lot of places that they have trouble and that aren't as accessible as they should be. So a little bit of a trick question, sorry about that, but the girls who were saying sometimes and not always were probably the most correct, somewhere right in the middle of true and false. Alrighty, so I have some more, but we're about halfway through our time, so I want to get to our activities. If we do have some time at the end, we can do some more. Okay. So our next activity is going to be our Connect. So for this, you will need a paper plate and some crayons, markers, colored pencils, anything like that. I have pastels, markers, all kinds of things, and a mirror. So you're going to take your mirror, look into it, and I just want you to look and see what you notice. Look and see how many colors you see. Look to see what colors are your eyes, your hair, your skin, your lips, your clothes, your shoes, anything. Just look in the mirror and try to notice all those different colors of all those different things. So take a minute, look in the mirror, see what colors you got going on. Your skin, maybe your tongue. Mine's pink, but if you just had a lollipop, it might be blue or purple or red. Your eye color, mine are like a greenish brown. Have brown hair. Have pinkish lips, maybe a little red. Have a grayish blue shirt on. Got some green in there. So after you've taken a minute to look at all the colors that are on you, I want you to take your paper plate and we're going to divide it into 6 wedges. So you're going to take pencil, marker, crayon, do a line straight down the middle. There we go. Line straight down the middle, and then an X. And if they're not all the same width, that's okay. Not all the wedges have to be exactly the same. So you should have about 6 wedges in there. Do a line straight down the middle, and then an X. You should have 6 wedges on your paper plate. And then you're just going to take your markers, your crayons, whatever you have, and you are going to color each wedge, each section, one of the different colors that you saw on you. And I just noticed I also have red paint on my fingernails, so I'll probably use red as well. So my skin's probably about this, I don't know if you can see it, pretty similar shade, pretty light color. I'm going to color one of my wedges that color. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be colored in fully. And we're going to talk a little bit about why we're doing this in a second. So for each wedge, color in a color that you see on yourself. And it doesn't have to be, you know, hair, skin, eyes. It can also be what you're wearing. So I have a gray, I have some green, I have some red on my nails. Any colors that you see, all go on your paper plate and do a different color for each wedge. That's my first one. I think I'll do a brown for my hair and my eyes. Again, doesn't have to be perfect. Just a little bit of color in there so you can see all the different colors that are a part of you. So we've got a tannish and a brown for my eyes and my hair. I need maybe a pinkish color for my lips, or a red. But let's start with red for my nails. You can just scribble on there. Doesn't have to be perfect. So we've got 3 so far. It's hard to see that middle color. It's pretty light, but it's a tannish. Brown and red. I have some Girl Scout green going on. I'm going to put some green in there. Let me know in the comments what colors you guys got going on. This is called our color wheel. I have a grayish color. Do I have a gray in here? I do. I'll do gray for my shirt. Although I don't like to admit it, I do have a couple of gray hairs. So we can count that for the gray too. Just a couple though. I'm only 25. What colors do you girls got going on? Let me check the comments. Well, I have a comment from someone that I want to read out loud. She says, sometimes my sister has to be alone in the disabled section because able-bodied people take the seats intended for people accompanying disabled people. Thank you for sharing that, and that's something that we should all be aware of. We want to be aware of what spaces are for people with disabilities. Someone says they're in their car, they can't do the activities. That's okay. This is recorded. All our patch programs are recorded, so you can watch it on Facebook or YouTube at a later time. We got some colors coming in too. Brown, pink, gray, peach, blue, yellow, tan, pink, purple, red, white, black, green, blue, black, red, pink, blue. Lots of colors. Awesome. Okay, I need one more. I wonder if I have like a lighter pink color. I think maybe this one will do for my lip color. Pretty close. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a pink. Alrighty. If you're still working, that's okay. Keep on working. But I'm just about finished here. And this is my wheel. Got tan, red, gray, pink, green, and brown. A little hard to see. We've got lots of different colors on there. And that's my color wheel. And I want you to take your color wheel and compare it to mine. If you're working with anyone else, compare it to theirs. And let me know, does it look exactly like mine does? Or does it look exactly like someone else who's with you looks? Do your color wheels look the same? Does anyone's color wheel look exactly the same as my color wheel? Or exactly the same as the person you're with, if you're doing this program with someone? Is your color wheel exactly the same? Have exactly the same colors and exactly the same spots? What do we think? Is your color wheel exactly the same as my color wheel? Or somebody else's color wheel? Gotta know. Anyone else? Anyone have exactly the same? Mine and my daughter are different, and they are different than mine as well. They're different from each other's, and they're different from mine. Lots of no's coming in. So all of our color wheels are different, right? Not everyone has the exact same color wheel. And even if you have similar colors, they're going to be in different spots on your color wheel. No one divided it exactly the same. Why do you think that is? Why do you think they're all different? Why do you think one color wheel is not exactly like another? Get lots of no's. Yours are different than mine. Why are they all different? Why are all of our color wheels so different? They are all different because we are not all the same person. That's a great answer. Everyone has different ones. No one is the same. You guys are on the right track. That's exactly it. Everyone is different. No one's is the same. Kind of like mine, but they not exactly, because everyone is different. Everyone is their own shape and form because we're all different. God made us all different. We have different styles. Yeah, you guys are all exactly right. You got the idea of this activity down. So one color wheel is just as special as another, just like people. So people are all very different. So making decisions about someone according to their colors, their color wheel, the shape of their eyes, their height, their weight, their ability or disability, that's all wrong. We shouldn't do that. Why shouldn't we do that? Lots of people saying we are all different, everyone is special. Yeah, wow, you guys really just warmed my heart. Why would it be wrong to judge each other on the differences in our color wheel? Or the differences of the shape we are, our height, our weight, our abilities. Yeah, not everyone is the same. Why would it be wrong to judge someone on those things? We're all unique. Yep. It's rude. Definitely. We don't all look the same. It's not very nice. Yeah, you guys got it. Continue typing in the comments because I'd love to know what your thoughts are on this. But you're exactly right. First of all, it's not nice to do that to somebody else, but we're all different. All our color wheels are going to look different. All of us are going to look different. So there's no reason to judge people because no two people are the same. And our differences really make us special. And those things that we have in common help us connect with each other. So it would be silly to judge each other based on silly things like the colors around us, the colors that are on us, the way we look, our abilities and disabilities. It's one, not very nice, and two, it's just silly. We shouldn't judge people based on those kinds of things. If someone says we all have different abilities, absolutely. It doesn't matter if we're different or the same, we're all friends. Another reason to be a sister to every Girl Scout. Although we look different, we're all the same on the inside. We are all human beings. Great answer. The world is fun with differences. Yeah, absolutely. If we were all the same, it would be pretty boring. If everybody looked and acted exactly the same, I think we would get pretty bored. Someone says, I love me and the people that are different from me. Awesome job, girls. You really warm my heart. Great job. Great job. Okay, so after that exercise, we have one more, and then we'll move on to our sign language. So for this one, all you need is a piece of paper and some coloring supplies. And I want you to take a minute. If you have a blindfold, you can put your blindfold on, or you can just close your eyes like I'm going to do. And I want you, without being able to see, since it's fall, while we're having our Facebook Live, I want you to try and draw either a pumpkin or a jack-o'-lantern. If you want to draw something else, that's fine too. But try to do it with your eyes closed or with a blindfold on. If you want to make it really difficult, don't look to see what colors you're picking out either, and see what colors you come up with. But I'm going to close my eyes, use my markers, and do my best to draw a pumpkin. And again, you can draw something else. I'm going to go for a pumpkin and see how I do. Okay, that's my orange. I'm going to venture to guess that I'm not doing very well. I think this is my green. All right. I'm just going to do a quick pumpkin, but I think that's the best I'm going to do. I'm going to open my eyes. Oh, I actually didn't do too bad. So with my eyes closed, this is my pumpkin. It sort of looks like an apple. I'm a little surprised that it even turned out this good. Let me know how your pumpkin turned out with your eyes closed or with your blindfold on. How did your pumpkin or whatever picture you decided to draw, how did that turn out? And was it difficult, or did you think it was easy to do it with your eyes closed? What do we think? Was it easy to draw our picture with our eyes closed? Or was it pretty difficult? What do we think? Probably doesn't look too good. I think mine looks more like an apple. What do we think? And again, I keep mentioning her, but Molly Burke does drawing with, she's blind and she draws, and she actually does a really good job. Someone says, the face of my jack-o'-lantern, oh, where'd you go? Mine looks crazy. The face of my jack-o'-lantern wasn't inside the pumpkin. It went bad. It's kind of hard. Mine turned out better than I thought it would. My mom's isn't good. It's challenging, it's difficult. My pumpkin stem was on the pumpkin's middle. Some people did okay, but it was pretty difficult. It's not easy. Yeah, so you guys are right. So just doing this exercise, you can see how difficult it might be to not be able to see or to have trouble seeing. It's pretty difficult, right? Even just drawing a picture, doing something as simple as drawing a picture. So you can imagine how difficult it is to do everything else in life, either with no sight at all or with impaired vision. So I would invite you to consider all of the special skills that somebody who is blind or visually impaired probably has. So maybe they can't see as well as we can, but they probably have lots of other special skills that we don't have because they've had to develop those skills. So something to consider and a little activity to see just how hard it might be to have that disability. So consider that the next time you come into contact with somebody who has a visual impairment or is blind. Consider how hard that might be for them, and also how well they have adapted to be able to do everything we do, but without sight. Kind of crazy to think about. And again, I encourage you to check out Molly Burke, who does all kinds of special videos on what it's like to be a YouTuber, but also what it's like to be blind or partially blind. Okay, so our last activity, now that we've done a little bit of connecting and learning about people who have disabilities, is to learn the Girl Scout promise and the law in sign language. So we might not get through all of it. I definitely want to get through the promise. If we don't get through it all, someone says your hearing can be better when you're blind. Yeah, so when you're blind, some of your other senses, like hearing, can be better. Okay, so our take action is to learn the Girl Scout promise and law in sign language, so we can say it to people who are deaf or hard of hearing. And I will bring that up. And again, we might not get to the law, but if not, I can share the link in the comments, and you can work on doing that on your own. So this comes from, so this is not our video, this comes from another Girl Scout council. They do mention it in the video, and they were gracious enough to send it over to us. So here they are.
All right, thank you again. Welcome to our Facebook Live, where we are collaborating Girl Scouts Connected with Mountains to Midland and Eastern South Carolina to bring you the virtual program series. I'm going to introduce one of our volunteers as well as one of our, she's our assistant camp director known as Tweety. She is fluent in sign language, and today she's going to be teaching you the Girl Scout promise and the Girl Scout law in American Sign Language. So welcome, Rachel.
Hey everyone, like Danielle said, my name is Rachel, and she asked me to be here today to teach the Girl Scout promise and the Girl Scout law in American Sign Language. Okay, so I have my words over here to the side, so if you see me looking over, that's what I'm looking at. A few things, just keep in mind that when you are signing, sometimes you don't sign all the words in a poem or a song, or in this case, the Girl Scout promise and law. So if I skip over a few words, it's okay. If you go to sign the promise or the law to someone, they will know what it is. Okay? Are we good to get started? Mm-hmm. Okay. So first we're going to be signing the Girl Scout promise. Alright? So the girl, this is the sign for Girl Scout. Girl Scout promise. For promise, think like you have a secret that you're keeping sealed up. Promise. Okay? So I'm going to do each line with you line by line, and then we will do it a little faster. And my understanding is that this will be posted later on the page, so if you want to go back and practice a little bit later, you have that option as well. Okay? So, Girl Scout promise. Here we go. On my honor. On, think of there's a table and you're on it. On my honor. This is the sign for the letter H. So you do that with both your hands and you come towards you. On my honor, I will try. Okay, I, just point to you. I will. Take your right hand and go out from your cheek. Try. Take both your hands, make a fist, but point your thumbs out and move away from your chest. Alright, so that line again. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country. To serve, think like you're serving a platter of food. To serve God, this is what it looks like from the side. God and my country. Okay? To serve God and my country. To help, hold on just a minute. I think we're back. Alright. I'm gonna start from the top, okay? So, on my honor, I will try to serve God and my country. To help. Think like you are giving someone some help, okay? To help people. This is the sign for the letter P. So if you do that with both hands and then rotate your hands like you're riding a bicycle, people, at all times, okay? Put your left hand out like a platter. Your right hand goes around all times, like your watch. Alright? So let's do that line again. To help people at all times. To help people at all times. And to live, you're just moving your fist from your stomach to your chest. To live by the Girl Scout law. Okay? Law. Your left hand is a palm up in the air, and your right hand is in the letter L. Law. So let's do that all together. Alright, the Girl Scout promise. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. Good job! This is how you applaud in sign language, so I'm applauding all of you.
Can you do that one more time for them, Rachel?
Yes. Alright, so one more time for the Girl Scout promise. Alright. On my honor, I will try to serve God and my country, to help people at all times, and to live by the Girl Scout law. All right. If you guys have any questions, I think you can type them down and...
Okay, I will stop it there. So that was a great run through from our Sister Girl Scout Council, going through all of that. I know me personally, I can't learn it quite that quick, but I put the link to the video, it's on YouTube, in the comments, so feel free to check it out, keep practicing until you can get it without following the video. I think that would be really great. And if you're interested in sending us a video of you doing the Girl Scout Promise and Law in ASL or American Sign Language, we would love to see it. Feel free to send it over to us either on Facebook or email it over, customercare@gswpa.org. So once you have learned that, or have at least tried to learn it, that's your take action, and you guys have earned your disability awareness patch. So on our patch programs page on our website, so gswpa.org, if you look up our patch programs, we have a printed out sheet if you would like to share this with anyone else. There's also some more activities on there if you're interested in doing some more. But other than that, you girls are all set. Thank you so much, girls, parents, everyone who's joined us today, whether you're a Girl Scout or not. Thank you so much for joining me. I've had a great time, and have a great rest of your evening. Bye, ladies.